Want to call this meeting to order. How's everybody doing tonight? Happy New Year to everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Let's go ahead and get the meeting started. The first agenda item we have here is approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
All approved? Say yes.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay? No nays? All righty. Next agenda item is approval of the minutes.
Mr. Chairman,
September 26, 2022 meeting. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the minutes of September 26th, 2022.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. We're making it easy. So the next item of business is the director's report, new business, old business, parks update, and recreation update. Director's report.
Good evening, and I hope everyone's doing well, and welcome to 2023. How about that? Say that twice. I'm going to be a little bit brief tonight. I want to talk about some things we've done over the last couple of months to make you aware. Hopefully you've seen a lot of it already around the city. I'm not going to spend much time on Jack yet because I'm sure Susan wants to talk a little bit about that. So if you haven't noticed in some of the parks, and hopefully you have noticed that you're seeing new grills pop up in some of the parks. So again, if you haven't noticed that, you'll see that. I know Steve has sent me a picture of some new grills at Northeast Creek. So we're going through some of those processes right now. As far as Sherwood Forest, and I'm not sure who has Sherwood Forest.
I do.
Swings, we have moved the swings recently. And just so, in case you're wondering why we did that is, we have a rubberized surface over there, and what we were seeing is a lot of sand was being carried over to the rubberized surface. So we just needed to reposition the swings, which is not rubberized, it's sand. That's not good generally for the sand for it to be on those rubberized. So we're just kind of creating a little more separation there. So hopefully we'll see a little bit less of that. Just be aware of when you see us do things like that, there is a reason behind it. And then obviously I want to talk a little bit about our holiday time. If you rode around the city, I want to give you an update. We had 259 pole ornaments up this year, which is more than we've ever had. Usually we put up 252, but we were able to bring some existing ornaments we had back to life by restringing them with new lights, and hopefully, as you'll see, we have LED lights out there. I can't say enough good about the park staff that works on our poles and does that. That's a 2 to 3 week process, and it's not an easy process because generally that's when the weather's getting rough. It could be raining even. Those ornaments are, they look like they're small, but they're about 6 foot tall and about 5 foot wide. They're not small ornaments. It's not an easy job, but they do a great job, and they're very safe in what they do and getting them up, and as well as taking them down. So I can't praise them enough for that. And we're smart enough, and the police department has been someone who is right behind us the whole way. And the importance of that is from a safety perspective, we have a blue light on, so trying to keep things safe as we're doing those sorts of things. So that's awesome. One of the other things that we were able to do this year that we had done a year before was the Santa event, where we had 3 nights this year where we had Santa and Mrs. Claus down at the tree and handed out hot chocolate and candy canes and those sorts of things to the public. And I would tell you that event went very well this year. It went well our first year. We had what I would call normal outputs the first 2 nights, but the third night we had an extremely large output, and very pleased with it. So hopefully next year, if you didn't get a chance to attend, you'll come out next year. And I'm going to talk just a hair about Jack yet, and really all I want to say about it is we will be finished as a park staff over there at that site tomorrow with the landscaping. Obviously, the contractor did all the building and reorganizing of the actual facility itself, but we were tasked and we were more than happy to do it with doing all the landscaping out at the site and basically beautifying it. And we've been working on it for about 2 weeks, and we'll officially be done tomorrow, but if you went by today, you would think we were done. So hopefully, as Susan talked to you about Jack Amiette, and I know we were there in November, I think, and if you get a chance to go by there, you're gonna see a building that's ready to open, and I'm gonna stop right there and send it right to her because I'm sure she's anxious to tell you a little bit about that.
Thank you, Michael. Yeah, I am thrilled to give you an update. I appreciate everybody coming out. You guys were the first folks to kind of come out and to lay eyes on it. So thank you for your support and coming out in November. So it is so close. I'm hoping to have a certificate of occupancy this week, as a matter of fact. So hopefully after inspection tomorrow, look at the beautiful landscape job they've done. This is a lot of what, obviously Michael's crews did all of this, so they get full credit for making it look just fantastic. I didn't take pictures of everything, but this shot right here just shows you the different, work and efforts they put into it to make it look amazing. So this is what you saw last time was all dirt, but now it is a beautiful location. And then this is just a side shot. This is a shot of now all the sod is in, and then the mulch. It really does look nice. This is part of our walkthrough last time. How about that? Look at there. Very similar. We've gotten some equipment in. We have gotten some furniture delivered. It's looking really good. We still have a lot more to go, but we are getting there. So we are getting deliveries just about on a daily basis and filling it up. This is just kind of an idea of we'll get there. But in any case, the good news is probably tomorrow's inspection will give us a certificate of occupancy. And that means I have a green light to move forward with opening the building up to the public. So that said, I am looking at, let me go back here. I'm looking at middle of February. I'm not going to give you a date right now because I do want to make sure I have a final certificate of occupancy before I open it up officially. But I am very confident that we will transition and move some, basic programs like basketball and any of our athletics programs over there. Middle to end of February. My plan is to have an open house, and an open house just is going to, so that I want to invite the schools, the principals, local businesses, anybody that's in the area to come out throughout the day, and then open it up to obviously any public that want to come out in the evening hours. Just open it up so that the community can come see what we have done, and with the gracious approval from mayor and council, what we've invested our money in. So my plan is to open it up for an open house, and I will certainly make you aware of all of those details just as soon as I have them. And then that way we can officially open the building up and let everybody that can come out and participate. We will open up the gym first thing probably and have the pickleballers available, basketballs available, and anything else that we will offer up to the community. So good news on the horizon. It's been a lot of work, and nothing but kudos to the engineering and the project management staff that worked on it. Obviously, Michael's crews make it look a beautiful site, and then my folks will come in here shortly and hopefully fill it up. So it's a great team effort. Any questions on that? Any thoughts?
Looks great.
It does.
It does.
Good job.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you do, and you will ride by Jack Amiette, I'm sure, one of the differences we did, and it's the first time we've ever done this, so I'd like to get some feedback from you, is we used to have, going way back, there was a chain link fence around the playground area.
Right.
Going a little bit back in time here. And then we segued over to using the split rail, the traditional wooden split rail fence. And one of the things I've done a little different is I put a 4-foot high vinyl fence out there. And I'm curious on what your thoughts are on that. We think it looks good, but we're a little biased maybe. So I wonder if I could get your feedback, and you can shoot me a text message or whatever if you don't mind. Because if you think it looks good, then I'm right. And there's some other places that we may want to move that look to. So, sorry.
And where's that? Where the fence is?
You're not going to miss it. It's right around the curve,
Okay.
and it goes all the way past the basketball.
Okay, I need
See
to.
it where it
I
is.
did.
been by, just didn't pay it.
You can barely see it in the very back
Well,
if you
on the
look to
right
the
side.
right
Right.
hand side. It's the
Right.
white vinyl.
The white vinyl, okay, yeah.
The white vinyl on the
Yeah.
front.
Yeah.
They take a picture. One thing I do want to ask, in having an open house and the building open, I really do want the community to know we're back there. So, Jack Amyette has a long history. When I send you the invite and the open house information, feel free to share it. I talked to Mr. Hagan the other day, and he's going to send it to some of those folks that, while they don't live here anymore, they're a group of those folks that used to play and participate. So please, if you have any contacts for me to send it to, I would be more than happy to, but I really do want it to just be a celebration of folks to come and see what we've done with the facility and breathe some life into it and get some folks back out there. So again, let me know if I can do anything to help with that. Okay, so I have a great new update for you. I've talked to some folks and I've been given the green light. You are the first group to be aware of what we have done from the city standpoint on an RFQ or RFP for the Williamsburg 400 acres. So this is a great step in the right direction as far as getting this project underway. As you're all aware, we've purchased the 400 acres and there's a lot of people that have been working behind the scenes, and this is one of the efforts they've been working on, and that is an RFP for getting something going with needs assessment, market analysis, public input, site evaluation, master plan, conceptual design, you name it. This is the first step in getting something going and some thoughts down on paper. The first step, or I think the plan is to phase this large project out, but really the first one is what is it the community needs? What is it that works with all of our other facilities, and just trying to get that market analysis and that needs assessment going. So the good news is this document is going to get that first phase underway. This document just hit all of the basically bid portals that are out there, and a lot of firms that do this sort of work, consultants. It is due March 3rd, so they'll have until then to kind of get us all of those proposals back. So depending on what those proposals look back, I will say that the TDA has been very supportive of this project, and so they will certainly be at the table as far as working on this. Anthony Prinz with the TDA is the one that actually headed up this request and sending it out. That said, obviously, this group right here is going to be vital. When we get that information back, we will certainly share it with you, and you will have a voice at the table throughout the entire process, very similar to what we did at Jack Amyette. We brought you to the table, we brought we brought you in for a special meeting. We're going to want to hear your feedback as we go throughout this entire process. So this is very exciting for us. This gets things going. So it was just released last week. The deadline is March 3rd. And then, as you can see, it takes a little bit of time to vet through those groups that give it to us, and then ideally at a council meeting in March, a contract is awarded, and then they will be able to proceed. So I'm not sure what the process looks like. Every company is different, but I can tell you that it will be involved, and all of our stakeholders and all of our public will be made aware as we move through the process. So it'll be very exciting for us to see something moving forward on this project.
How many bids do you expect?
That's a tough one. I don't know how many to expect. This is a pretty comprehensive, this list of things right here is pretty comprehensive. It's just a matter of not whether there's firms that do all of this or portions of it. You could get a little bit of everything. Since this is going to be phased out, it could go anywhere from 3 to 8.
I could see you getting on the higher side. This is a
pretty
request
big
for
project.
proposal, so I'm sure any firm that sees it will put something together for a planning purpose document, and that's really what this is. It's not bids involved in this. It's kind of it's more of a think tank idea of what we can do for you. This is what we can do for you, and how the process of how we're going to take your community from here and get them to here. And so that's what this is.
Because there was submission to selection was like a week, so you guys are gonna be busy reading all those.
Yeah.
Well, it's not due until March 3rd.
It's not due till March 3rd. A lot of times what you'll find is some things will hit the mark, and if they're disqualified for whatever reason, they kind of come off the table, but we'll see. And if we don't have time, then we'll adjust it on our end. As long as we get them by the 3rd, 5 p.m. Yes, sir.
Do you tell them what you want, or do they tell you what they can give you?
No, in this process, they tell us what they can give us. We hit the high marks, like we basically say, this is what we're looking for. You tell us what you can provide and at what cost.
And this is the size of the property. You know, we give them the outline. They need to color in
But
between.
you tell them what you're looking for.
As far as what's out there on the
Yeah.
site, no, we haven't done any of that. This is basically, we have 400 acres. We want you to come to our community and analyze what our community has, talk to the public, hold some focus groups, you know, what is
They
it
tell
that,
you what-
yeah, and then they will analyze what our needs are based off of what we have, and then they'll offer suggestions and they'll say, okay, well, it says here you might need this, and the community is asking for this. It's very similar to the master plan process we had, you
But
know.
you can come back and say, well, this is what we'd rather have.
This is very process oriented. So they're going to take it from the baby stages and kind of lead us, because this is something they do for a living. They're going to lead us through the process of, and I'm going to use a 10,000 piece puzzle. This is the organization of the puzzle, you know, and not building and putting the puzzle together, but where are we putting the corners, how, you know, where are those pieces? This is the foundation of what is going to be done on the 400 acres.
They come from North Carolina, or they come from
A
out
lot
of
of them will
state?
come from
Depends.
North Carolina, but they could come from out of state easily. Virginia, South Carolina, they could easily come from out of state. A lot of the subcontracted work can easily come from out of state, for sure. It's a big project, and with 400 acres, we want to get it right. And I think that this is the process to get it started right, and not for us to make any assumptions on any of this. You know, for 400 acres, you could do a lot, so this is a
And we
great.
will do a lot.
Yeah, this is a great move. So you're the first public group to know. It just hit the public airways right now. So if we get any calls, if anybody asks you, please direct them to either one of us or Anthony Prinz with the TDA, and he's with the city as well. But we can certainly answer any questions specifically. But we'll see after the 3rd. We'll keep you posted. The good news is we'll have a meeting in March. So the timing of our meetings is perfect. So that's that. That's exciting. Other than that, for my side of the house, spring sports registration, it starts on Monday. We barely finished winter, but we are ready to get these kids out on our ball fields with baseball, softball, and volleyball. We expect a large turnout for all of those, as we haven't done in the past. New for us this year, we've done a great job of actually adding a league of indoor soccer. We've always had successful like futsal tournament and those sort of sports, but this year our new athletic supervisor, Spider Herschel Pilot, is able to recruit, and we have 11 teams for an indoor soccer league, and so they're playing on Sundays at Jack Hemiet. I mean, not at Jack Hemiet, they will be, but right now they're at the Commons on Sundays, so we're excited that we've grown a sport with that. Pickleball is coming, the tournament we have and we host every year, first weekend in March, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It is, as you all know, a very popular sport, and we're happy to host at the Commons all weekend pickleball tournament. So if anybody's watching and you have a partner and you want to play, or if you don't, just give us your name and we can see if we can find you a partner. But come sign up. Registration is very, very active, I would say, at the moment, right, Megan? And then last but not least, we had a really great success this past Winterfest with our snow machine, and we wanted to capitalize on our snow machine, and so we're actually going to offer snow days. The first one is on Friday, this Friday, and it is basically an opportunity for us to provide some snow for these kids to go sledding down. It's not going to be a lot of other fanfare, some basic food and some hot chocolate, but we are going to be open to the public this Friday at the Commons from 5:30 to 8:30, and we will have free snow sledding. So there you go. We have some great folks over at the park staff. Scott and crew do a phenomenal job of, getting all that snow on that belt and getting it pushed out on this sled, and they have a great time, and the kids. But this will be new and very, sure, popular with the kids come Friday, and we will do another one in March. So we're just trying to take advantage of our equipment that we purchased last year and give something new and fun and different to the community. So that's kind of it for us. We're busy with Jack Hemiet. We'll keep you posted on that. Any questions on anything? either I did mention or I did not mention.
You said that's Friday at what time?
5:30. Yes, sir.
Could you explain to the public how they could sponsor a sports team?
Absolutely, I would love to. So we do have sponsors for all of our youth sports teams, and it's not much, but we do have a form that you fill out. And if you have a business or not even a business, and you just want to be able to sponsor a youth team, you certainly can support our efforts in providing those shirts and outfits. As you know, we try to keep our registrations pretty reasonable for our kids and our parents in the community, but a sponsorship does help with kind of just offsetting some of those expenses for the team. So you do get a chance to name your team. So Mr. Hinkle here has named his team, what?
Retirement Account Racing.
There you go, Retirement Account Racing. So they are playing basketball up and down, and his granddaughter's having a fabulous time. So I
They're
appreciate
killing
the
it.
support. I hope you're having a good basketball season, but yes, Retirement Account Racing.
So if you were Uncle Bob, you could sponsor a team and you'd say,
Uncle Bob's
Bob's
team.
your uncle?
You could, absolutely could, all of the above. We draw the line at some names, but those are perfectly acceptable. So we appreciate your support, absolutely.
Oh, it's a
Yep.
blast.
Well, I'm glad you've had a good season so far.
And every
She's
game.
enjoying it. Good. Good question. Anything else I did not mention? Any other thoughts for me?
What
Yes,
about
sir.
I know you all have programs usually in February, Black History Month.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Yes, we do have that on February 12th. We're happy to open back up. We have had historically, I want to say this is probably our 13th year of our African American read-in. It might be off a couple of years on that. But we have a very nice read-in event. And what a read-in is, basically our kids in our after-school program recite, memorize, or just read it. It's okay if they do too. Works from African American authors, songwriters, anybody that has done any sort of written word. We want our kids to celebrate and advocate for that. This year, prior to COVID, we are back to a live in-person event. Past couple of years, we pre-recorded it and just kind of showed it, but we will be back in council chambers, open to the public on February 12th, and I believe it starts at 2:00.
It was mentioned to me to be involved.
It
in the
was
reading
mentioned
part.
to you to be involved because you are a published author, Mr.
Yeah,
Jackson.
once upon a time.
Yeah, you're a published author. So we are thrilled to celebrate anybody that has had the lovely written word and would like to be an inspiration to our community, as you are already, but certainly appreciate any support you might give us on that. But it is a good event, and it is just really heartwarming to see these kids have been working on their selections probably since before Christmas. They've been working hard on them. And so it really is inspiring. It's a great, great event. So that is February 15th. So we're busy. 12th. I'm sorry, 12th. Yes, 12th. The 15th, I think, is when I'm going to do the Jack Emmett opening. So I'm kind of,
Got all the days.
I'm just blurring them all together. I just know that second week is busy in February. No, that's a great point. Anything else? Any other questions? Feedback? Okay, I'll be quiet. Thank you.
All right, next agenda item is the council liaison report.
First of all, great job on what you guys been doing for Christmas,
Thank you.
as well as beyond.
I'll pass that along.
And actually, Jack Emmett is looking great.
Thank you.
I was fortunate enough to make one of the first batch to get over there. Not gonna tell you how long it took, but I think they captured the one I made. But anyway, I'm looking forward to that facility opening.
We are.
Where we met the ad hoc committee for recreation, which is the mayor, Sammy Phillips, Bob Ward, and myself met with Chris Mumford. He's actually a professor of entrepreneurship at UNC Chapel Hill. He actually was a soccer player there, and he became an entrepreneur later. We sat down with him and soon to be retired Colonel Todd Ferry and discussed, some synergy between us and the base, hopefully over time, bringing one community together and some ideas about what we can be doing going forward in terms of what the type of facilities. And I'm sure we're going to be involved with all the things you're saying to go forward to make that a successful endeavor. Also, we, now that you're speaking about Jack Amiat, Town Center is still a work in progress. And hopefully we're moving in a good direction to get more accomplished. And that's all I would say about that for right now. But I do hope we can move forward on that. If, you know, our community needs more housing. We definitely need more housing that people can, not only what they call affordable housing, but low-income housing and income-based housing, workforce housing. All of that is a huge need, not only here, all over the country. And as I discussed before, we're starting to see more people from these homeless camps coming out into our regular community. And if we don't actually get intentional about dealing with that, we're gonna have larger city problems. And so I'm gonna sound like Chicken Little and keep saying that.
Sky's falling.
All right. But other than that, I'm sure Mr. Spring will tell us a lot more about what's happening along the way in the city. But thank you. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. So the next agenda item is Planning Advisory Board Liaison.
That's me.
Yes, sir.
Two things that we discussed this last planning board, that you may see some notifications of. On Yop Road, next to the IHOP, there's a parcel of land that currently has a house on it. And they petitioned to have that rezoned from residential to commercial corridor, which creates a kind of a long strip down that side. It makes that entire side commercial corridor. So that opens the door for something big to show up there. You know, we've already got the Chipotle now next to IHOP, and so we're starting to see a lot more retail businesses down in Yop Road. You know, for a while we didn't have as many places to eat on that side, but now it looks like things are picking up and we're getting a little more. So we don't know what would show up in that parcel of land. I think City Council has not voted on that yet, or the rezoning next to Yop Road.
I'll have to check that with you.
And maybe at your next meeting, because you've got to have a public hearing for it.
Yeah, that's right. Haven't had a hearing yet.
Yeah, and the second thing was more, it's something you may notice, informational, was that the planning board recommended approval of an ordinance changing our requirement on fencing of retention ponds. According to some federal lawsuits and some questions, we really can't require people to put fencing around retention ponds. And so the discussion was always, when we were requiring people to put fencing around retention ponds, how much fencing, how high. Too high means that the kids can get under and in, but the adults can't get over and after them. So if you go to places like Wilmington, like I have a condo we go and see on Saturday, and their retention ponds are unfenced. They're just out there, and they don't seem to have any problem at all with it. The ducks certainly the geese don't seem to mind, because they have their share of geese in Wilmington also. But so now the ordinance is going to say, basically, you don't have to fence in your retention pond, but if you choose to fence your retention pond, it's got to be an ornamental fence, not just your chain link fence. So that would hopefully dress it up a little bit. And I can see a lot of places will probably decide not to put a fence around their retention pond unless their corporate entity says, hey, we all do, so you must. And that was it. Any other questions for the planning board?
Those existing fences, they can stay, or
They're grandfathered in. We're not trying to make somebody, reinvent things, but some of them get to look pretty bad. So now they can choose to take some of them down, hopefully, and that'll make it a little easier to take care of, because I can tell you firsthand that when you have a fence and you don't take care of the weeds and stuff that go to the fence, it just gets looking bad.
Thanks, sir. All right, next we have the member comments and park reports. Mr. Ross, you're first.
Wooten Park is in good shape, bathrooms clean, facilities were in order, neat. The grills, everything. There's a little bit of graffiti on the cement. Somebody still likes to do, but it wasn't as bad as it has been. You might want to look at the building itself if it needs a coat of paint. And also, I don't know what you can do about the gutters, but it's always, it's right, all the trees and everything, there's not much you can do as soon as you clean them out, right back up again. But the staff does a really good job taking care of it, and it's really in great shape. A lot of people, I was out there last week, I think during the week, and a lot of folks are out there in the morning, people working out, bicycles, and it's used.
It's a great park,
A great park, it really is. Very well utilized.
one of the most visible, especially if you're on the bypass, right?
Right, yeah. I got a personal comment. We lost a really great guy last week, Mike Powell. Used to be a Little League coach back in the 70s. Super guy when I first came on as an umpire. A little bit earlier than what I like to think, but he was with Mr. Crawford. He was out there, and really a super guy, great in the community. Passed away, like I said, last week. But Mike has played for him.
So Mr. Powell coached when I was in Little League, and people like Mr. Powell and Mr. Crawford, you know, we're not sitting here around this table today without people like that in the community back then that were taking their time, their personal time, to spend with the youth of Jacksonville, to teach them the right things and play baseball along the way. So yes, he's missed, and it's nice of you to bring his name up.
Appreciate it.
All right, Mr. Springs.
I'll start with Branchwood. When I was out there the other day, we had a couple people with their dogs out, running around the open area, which is a really good place for it. They're people that live in the neighborhood, and they just walk their dog down and use it. So that park's getting some use. About a day or two later, there was a family way back in the back in the picnic area, not picnic area, the swing set play area. When you pull up, since very few people pull up, so when I pull up and start to walk down there and I see people down there, I'm not going to go down there and chat with them, because they give you this strange look like, why are you down here? 'Cause
Right.
I'm obviously not from that neighborhood. So, but yeah, it's getting good use. Sherwood Forest. I drove down there, and you're right, Mike. I followed the trail, and I wondered, well, what are these?
Where's this coming
Yeah,
from?
so I walked down that way, and I go, oh, they moved the swing set. So yes, I've noticed that, and I think you're right that it will lead to less sand on that.
We hope so.
Yeah, so it looks good down there, and
Thank you.
and the water fountain doesn't run because we've cut it off, which is good.
It's too cold.
Mr. Woodruff's watching. Yes, I did tap it 3 times, and its water still didn't come out. So he taught me how to check that water fountain. So yeah, everything looks good at Sherwood.
Awesome.
Good deal. Ms. Tinkle?
Northeast Creek Park is getting a lot of use, except Sunday. It was raining all day, so I didn't see a lot of people out there. But the playground is packed anytime the weather is decent. Doesn't have to be great, just reasonably good. And so, it's really gets a lot of use. And because of that, all the plastic components are kind of grungy now. Any chance we could pressure wash those?
Look at that.
Yeah. The new grills look awesome. They stood right out immediately. It was like, wow, look at that. So, but the place looks good. Everybody's using it.
Awesome.
Yeah, no problems there.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What's the status of that pond area what used to be?
The 14 acres.
There you go. Thank you.
Well, I think the easiest way to answer that is we're not 100% sure yet. We're working with, Susan and I are working together, and we're working with the manager, and look, you know, the reality is, we want to make sure whatever we put out there, we're not replicating out at the 400 acres,
Right.
you know? So we're kind of like a little bit in a holding pattern, you know, because the 14 acres that would be utilized out there definitely need to be recreation and parks driven. And whether that's a building or outside fields, athletic fields, multi-purpose fields, however we want to call them, there's some opportunity there for that. Definitely, we just need to make sure we take those steps. And, you know, as we get through the budget and the CIP, which that side of the park is within our CIP program, we'll know a little bit more.
Is there a plan to bring any more dirt out in that area, or
Well,
just?
we can't develop it until we're probably a good, we're at least, you know, probably 1 to 2 yards short. We couldn't do anything out there without bringing dirt in. Although I will tell you, there are areas out there that are fairly nice areas to run around on. I don't know if you've actually walked out there or been close enough to
It's
it.
been a while, so.
But it's not bad out there in some of those areas. It's just in a low area. The problem we have is when it rains, and this is a struggle that we're having. A couple of years ago, if you'll remember, there was a mud event with vehicles, and that was a great event, but the problem that event gave us was it created some holes in some spots because it moved dirt. And those are very low spots, and what we run into from a maintenance perspective in those areas is they're so low that they never dry out. So if you walk out there and see this little forest grass area, it's because we can't even get to it to mow it. And even in July, when it doesn't rain for a week or 2 weeks, you know, it's that wet out there. But hopefully moving forward, and we've talked about this internally, we'd like to be able to, because at this point, really, we don't need topsoil out there yet. You know, we just need fill dirt. So maybe as the city does some work moving forward, we can work out something with our engineering people to have any dirt they're excavating or moving out, taken out to there to try and fix the holes. And I would tell you that there's probably no projects we're gonna have that's gonna do that because the holes are that big. You know what I mean? This was gonna take time. So the short answer is yes, we're gonna have to bring dirt out there to make those fields viable.
It's also kind of concave.
Yeah, that would be the holes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, the whole place kind of is,
Right.
you know, concave.
Well, remember, there was a track out there.
Oh, yeah.
So it kind of just, it created a bowl, for lack of a better term. And there are bowls within the bowl. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, you don't want to walk over there because it's really soft.
Yeah. But there's other areas out there that are just awesome, you know what I mean? And then there's areas.
Yeah, the north side of it.
Cool, thank you.
Great question. Thank you.
I got something to say.
Yes, sir.
You were talking about the rezoning of that area
Yes, sir.
by IHOP.
Yes, sir.
It wasn't public hearing this last time.
Okay.
Voted.
So you voted to
Change it, yeah, to low density,
Thank you.
commercial quarter, yeah.
All right, I guess I'm next. During the holidays, we had some fairly decent weather. And so my wife and I, we went out to Georgetown and Sturgeon City and walked both of the parks a few times. They're heavily used. I think Sturgeon City a little more than Georgetown at the time because, it just seemed like there's a lot of young families go out to Sturgeon City and use that playground area with the babies and things. But both parks look really, really nice, so.
Thank you. We'll pass that on.
Yes, sir. And I don't know if any grills were placed out at new grills at either one, because I don't know when you did that project.
I don't think
Yeah,
I don't think we've identified them yet, but
Okay.
but it's a process that you're
Yeah,
going to see
yeah,
eventually.
yeah. All right. All right, next we got Mr. Maxwell.
Phillips Park, it has its usual crowd. It's used, and the Commons, we know how the Commons goes. It's nice weather. The courts are gonna be filled. The, old, what is that, skateboard,
Park.
they're gonna use that for soccer. And of course, pickleball is going. If I come home from work and early in the morning, then that crowd of the older generations out there pickleballing it up. But the facilities are nice, well kept. And it's just a side note, the wooden trail where the train tracks used to be, I guess, that's what you would call it, along Camp Jude.
The rail
Oh,
trails.
yeah.
I really appreciate you all replacing a lot of those slats out there,
Thank you.
because that's where the guys and I ride our road bikes that way.
That's awesome.
And
You
I
know, one of the things we did is we pressure washed those wooden slats and we replaced the ones that needed to be replaced. And that's not easy to do because you're in the middle of no water access anywhere. So we have a water buffalo that we used to do that with. That's a very time-consuming job, but it's well worth it when people notice things like that.
And also, I noticed over on the Gum Branch side, the blowing of the pine needles off of the trails, keeping them clear and clean. It is noticed.
Thank you for noticing that.
But the question I have, the baseball area in the commons, are those bathrooms open and accessible to people from the basketball area?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, all of our restrooms are open. Those are the closest ones for them.
yeah. And I was-
I would prefer they use them.
I
I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah,
Amen.
I was gonna go further, 'cause
Appreciate the question. Feel free to.
Ask you a question. Did we ever come up with a solution for Kerr Street for the restrooms?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I think we are holding off on what happens with that marina shelter.
We were trying to, I know building, but I was wondering if we could do a temporary option. It's something.
Well, you know, currently what we do, I think, is the same thing we've been doing, which is the building has restrooms that are left open until 9 o'clock, is it?
So we have
Yeah.
restrooms.
Yeah, the restrooms on the outside of the building, which,
Okay, I was-
remember,
We do have
if you're not
restrooms.
familiar, the restrooms at Kerr Street have interior doors,
Yeah.
but they always also have exterior doors.
Okay, then
And we keep the interior doors
Locked.
locked, but the exterior doors are on a timer. And they're open from, let's say, 7 to 8 in the morning
Yeah.
until 9 at night.
Okay.
Now, what we do run into is people sometimes put a rock in the door.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Right, and you know, we've talked to the police department, I know Susan has, and asked them to do some of their routine checkups to make sure that people aren't leaving the doors ajar and things like that.
And the only thing that confuses folks, and we've talked to those folks that are down there fishing, during the summertime when we have kids in that building, we just ask them to come through the building. So that we don't have kids in the restroom and they're walking in the restroom, so that from a security standpoint, because we'll get calls in the summertime and they'll say, you've got these restrooms locked, and they're actually not locked. We just put a sign up there, say, please come through the building, so we can make sure that our guys, kids are out of
Safety
the
protocol
building,
for us.
out of the restroom, so that they're out, and then those folks can come in and use them. But it's a little bit of an odd dynamic having it connected to the building. We're hoping to alleviate other public restrooms when that marina shelter gets built, because there will be public restrooms for sure that everybody will be aware of there.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
I hear you.
Stay tuned on several things. Huh?
Alrighty, I think that's it on park reports. We have next, one city, one moment. Well, one city moment. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is from Winterfest. This was our first Saturday in December. It's been a while back, but I met with you all. We met at Jack Amiette prior to Winterfest, so this is technically new, but we do have our snow equipment. This is what you're going to see on Friday night, this Friday night at the Common. So we are thrilled to provide it. Everybody has an amazing time. You do not need to provide your own sled. We even have those for you. So this was at Winterfest, did a great job. We have the snow. and the parks guys do a phenomenal job with operating that equipment. This is a snapshot of what it looked like that day. It was a fantastic day. Weather was perfect for us. Not too warm where it melted any of the snow, but we had a great turnout and a great, really nice event. We ran a candy shop. It was packed. They sold out of just about everything.
Got Randy giving out candy?
That is Randy giving it. That is Randy giving out candy. Yeah, absolutely. We bring in a lot of great vendors free to the public, but it's an opportunity for parents to bring their kids down, and it's not going to cost them an arm and a leg. If they want to buy from one of our many, many food vendors, they can. Other than that, we're here to serve, so that's what we do. There's Santa. This is during Winterfest. I believe that was our Santa, but that's a cute picture of a little guy. This is to Michael's great crew that did it the following week down there. We did Winterfest on Saturday, tree lighting on Tuesday, and then following week he did a really nice opportunity for parents. For those of you who don't know, to get your picture done with Santa at the mall is extremely expensive. And this is, again, just a way for us to get back, and I think Michael's guys do a great job. And that's a real beard, folks. That's a real beard.
Wow.
I don't think that little kid. Neither one of you.
That age can go either way.
Yeah, so did a good, it's really, it's just a nice opportunity for bring people down to a beautiful park with a lot of work and effort that goes to making it so beautiful. This is just a wonderful opportunity. And there we have it. So winter is behind us, and now we're moving into spring, and we appreciate all of your support.
I
And
do have a question.
yes, sir.
When it comes to the sledding, can you be young at heart to take the sled?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Can't wait to see
I
it.
have a video. I have videos of Dr. Woodruff going down the sled.
Oh, wow.
I mean, yeah, we've all done it. Yes, absolutely. We welcome any and all of you. If you would like to come down on
Yeah, and our
Friday night.
staff has no problem, the park side of the house, they have no problem testing it.
No, they don't. They do a good job. They have a lot of fun.
You might have, you got EMT on
Yeah.
the side.
We
They're
can.
Okay.
certified.
They're just on the other side of the street.
Yeah, we're
Across
close
the
Top of
street.
the
We're
distance,
close
right?
to the
They are
fire
what they
station.
are.
When was the deadline for volleyball sign up?
It doesn't start until the 30th, so it actually
Oh, it
starts
starts on
next
the-
Monday. And it'll go for 3 weeks.
Register earlier rather than later. It
Volleyball's
will get full.
extremely popular, and it will fill up. But this year we'll have Jack Emiette, so I can't just keep going back to that. We are thrilled to be able to provide, we'll be able to have more teams because now we have a facility that will have 2 additional volleyball courts. Volleyball's huge.
It
Do
is.
you all ever take advantage of the schools, or is that
It's tough. Volleyball's a tough one for us to take advantage of the schools just because of the dynamic of the equipment and the volleyball standards and the staffing and the location of those. We can't transport our own, and not every school has the equipment that we need to utilize for volleyball.
And the timing has a
And the
lot to
timing.
do with it, because
tough.
they're usually
Using it.
in the gym. Yeah, they only have one gym, so they usually have boys and girls teams of some sort, whether it's cheerleading, whether it's a lot of schools use the gym for band in the evening, for concerts and things like that, plays, it becomes the auditorium.
We are all using them.
So we try and use the schools, but there's a challenge in having that partnership because they're in the gyms themselves.
We work well with several of the schools with our basketball program, and so we're definitely utilizing Commons Middle School, Northwoods Park Middle School. I mean, they've all been very good to us, but to Michael's point, we're waiting at the door for their teams to finish and for us to go in. So we all need the space, which is why I'm thrilled to get Jack Emiette, and the size of Jack Emiette is really going to help our leagues out. So
We also accept sponsorship for those who want to buy a gym and equip it properly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
A little more than the sponsorship of the baseball teams,
we
but
can.
basketball
Yeah.
teams, but.
Alrighty. Well, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Second.
Alrighty. Alright, so our next meeting is March 27th, 2023 at 6 p.m. So thank everybody for being here tonight.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Appreciate y'all.
expect to see